Svaki čovjek voli, ništa drugo ne postoji. Kad voli manje boli i sve je lakše. Kad boli to što voli onda lomi čaše. Znam te i znaš me, svako je lomio, izgubio i dobio i suze prolio, patio. Moraš probat da bi shvatio, nemaš kupit tu školu, pare nisu toliko bitne ako si me pratio. Svaki čovjek jedan film, pogledao sam svoj pola drama, sad bi chill. Glavni lik je patio dosta, kako ne bi scenarije Balkan bez nade i posla. Sad bi malo humora i smijeha za jebanci u boji. Dosadna je ova crno-bijela tehnika, zovi producenta, fali šminka i perika. Ideja je supera, budžet tanak, jebi ga.
Svaki čovjek je hotel, svaki put kada odeš, tuga natoči koktel na duplo dno. Svaki čovjek je bordel, mutne vrate te vode, amor me strijelo probode, idemo ponovo.
Ćao svima i dobrodošli u Perspektivu. Evo nas u Sarajevu i tu smo sa obje grupe mladih koje smo za potrebe ove današnje perspektive ujedinili u jednu veliku grupu, nadam se i brbljivu i znatiželjnu grupu. S nama je danas u Perspektivi naš posebni gost, gospodin Damon Wilson, predsjednik i izvršni direktor National Endowment for Democracy, NED, a danas je s nama u Sarajevu u Perspektivi, tu da podijelimo zajedno i ideje, promišljanja i naravno da vidimo kakva je njegova, a i naša perspektiva u ovome svemu.
How can we make our voice heard? Because we as young people have, I think, very bright ideas and we can make a positive change, but oftentimes we're not sure how. How do we do that? How do we get into the political scene? How do we make our voices heard?
Part of what we do at the endowment is we overinvest in arts and culture, technology, digital issues, and the next generation. In part to show that democracy has a future if it's embedded in reaching people, broader audiences, and embedded in the next generation, because it is emerging generations that shape societal perspectives, societal norms. But again, it's figuring that out. So for some people, it's finding the right mentors in life, people you want to work with, who are going to help support you, who are going to help lift you up. And then remembering that as you advance in your own careers, how to uplift others so that their voices are heard and amplified. At times, it's about getting engaged. It's about doing the work involved. Often I found when I was young, when I was trying to go to Washington for the first time, the way that I could get my voice heard was by expertise, by doing homework, by knowing more than other people in the room, so that I'd be in a room of political actors. I worked at the White House as a very young person. And the only reason I wasn't there because of politics, because someone knew me, I had to be there because I knew more. I knew what people needed to know. And so I found that leaning in on my knowledge, my homework, my expertise. We all want sometimes things easy. We want to project. We're on social media. It's actually doing the homework so that people depend on you for what you bring into the discussion, to the table. And I had the chance to work for different secretaries of state and all of that. You've got to have a reason why people need to hear from you because you have something to offer.
We already came to this conclusion that it all starts from an individual. And I think that we in Bosnia and Herzegovina are fortunate enough to have a lot of very ambitious young people who have a vision and who have a goal that they want to accomplish in this country, in politics, and anything in that realm. But what I realized is that a lot of people kind of lose that confidence over time because they will say their ideas, they will express it, and people who they thought will support them the most, whose opinion they agree with the most, shut them down. And 10 people shut them down, 20 people shut them down. Well, now my question is, what's your advice to retain that confidence and fight for what we believe in and not really listen to other people's opinions?
It's beautiful to know what you believe. And then when you're young, you're often sort of coalescing and figuring that out, and you're debating, which is a good thing. You want to be open. But having that sense of clarity of moral compass, a sense of integrity, a sense of what really matters to you, enough conviction to have the confidence in what you believe in when it gets really tough. So, and this is not just in Bosnia, in any society. If you're young LGBTQ, if you're a young woman, there's so many reasons and barriers and those who want to shut you down, that it takes a little spine, it takes a little resolve, a little bit of being uncomfortable. But I think if you can come to terms with what you believe in, what burns inside you, you'll find a strength with that because it gives you comfort. It gives you a bit of confidence when you have figured out what you really believe in and just owning that. Being comfortable in your own skin, which takes time, but when you're comfortable in your own skin, you can be more powerful in dealing with others.
Do you think one person as an individual can make a big change, taking into consideration your profession and everything that you have seen in the real world? And if you do believe that that is possible, could you give us an example of how to do it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I do think individuals matter. I think leadership matters. I do think that the challenges that we face require us to work together. I'm here in Sarajevo with democratic activists from 30 countries, and each one of them in their own right is an amazing leader and has done pretty remarkable things to advance human rights, democratic norms in their own society. And yet, they need to work together to be able to achieve something bigger, on a bigger scale, especially when we see anti-democratic forces cooperating to work together to push us down. But if you think about, some of these activists who are here right now, they're going to be joining us in South Africa in November. And when we were there, sort of reading through the letters of Nelson Mandela, and you saw the importance of a leader, of a resistance movement, an anti-apartheid movement, who had this strength in prison, strength of his conviction, to understand that he needed to sit down, negotiate with, and develop a vision for the future of the country that had a place for the white population of South Africa. It is unbelievable today to think about 30 years ago how that happened without violence. Now, to be fair, there was violence, but how it happened without full-scale war. And it took the leadership, the principle of an individual to set the tone and to provide direction and a community to help keep the peace in a very dangerous environment. You have stories like that. Many of you might have family members that were involved in very specific incidents here in which the leadership of an uncle or an aunt or someone helped diffuse a bit of conflict. And so individuals do matter. It is only a small group of people working together for change that actually get things done. It's when we think others will do it is when we begin to fail. And so accepting that agency, which comes with a sense of responsibility, I think it's an important power.
I wanted to reflect on the question you asked, how we can actually help the change. What I want to say is that I believe that it's important that we actually express ourselves, that we create art, that we create films, that we raise awareness about the change that we want to make, that we attend these events, that we do not stop trying to raise our voice. So I thank you for this opportunity to actually give us a voice to say our perspectives. And I believe that aside from these events, we should also find our own ways to actually raise awareness of our problems and to show everyone how important it is and how much we care.
Let's say, one of the biggest things that I've always wondered is how that's the first thing I said on the first day, is when older generations or older people say, let the young people lead the world and make it better and change it. But my question is, how can we change it when those generations of, it doesn't matter if it's a politician, a doctor, a waiter, waitress, leave that world in a mess with the same rules and not letting us bring out the new, like policies or rules or any type of a game changer that can maybe even change the smallest bit. And to connect these two, my other question is, out of all the problems we have today that we are, let's say, aware of, even 5%, what is the main section of those problems that we should focus on to even like think about changing.
You know, it's not for me to say what those problems are. It is, if you come to the world with that mentality, a problem-solving mentality, oftentimes what you see, often in politics, is that people want to be. They want to represent who they are, their identity. They don't really actually want to do a lot of work, they want to be. And if you come with a problem-solving mentality of you want to do, you want to take action to solve somebody's problem, it creates momentum where people are like, this person is helping me improve the quality of my life today. And you've got a lot of politicians, including here, who want to be. Let me represent my community. Let me represent what I am. And identity is important, I get it. But others who figure out, okay, we have insufficient maternity support for women who get pregnant in Bosnia. We need to change the policy so that we've got an ability to support our citizens during maternity. Let me solve their problems. This creates a sense of like, okay, you can do it. And so it's less about what the problem you identify. Do you want to be part of a whole green movement for climate change, strengthening social cohesion and inclusion here, or just getting trash picked up on your street, whatever it is. But to come to life with that problem-solving mentality, I think it builds on it, and it allows you to help not just inherit the rules, but decide how to change the rules for the better.
Taking into account your high station, it would be normal to be privy to some, let's say, more spicier opinions. For example, what do US policy and decision makers think of the quantifiable amounts of progress we've made, for example, in the last 20 years? Are we lacking or are we satisfactory in terms of our democratic development and other things?
First of all, I think it's more important that you answer the question. I mean, I have a perspective, and I think, 20 years, 30 years after fighting. And in some respects, Sarajevo today, a lot better, pretty remarkable on the EU candidate status. You've got tech startup firms. On the other hand, I do think about where were Germany and France 30 years after the end of World War II? Think about the scale of World War II. Think about the hatred involved. And think about 30 years after 45. I'm not sure Bosnia is in the same kind of trajectory. So I hope you're not satisfied. I hope you're pushing for more.
Okay, on to my second question. Now I will connect this a bit with the Kosovo issue. What do you think about crude territorial solutions as a way to solve the tensions on the Balkans?
Yeah, I think those days are over. I think that's the point of the whole concept of the European Union as a great peace and prosperity project. It's how to have peace and get rich. We know what the past is. The past is European history, which is violence, death, destruction, and getting poor. And so it's impressive to see a continent that has spent its entire humankind tearing itself apart in a very atypical historic moment right now. And Bosnia is saying, we want to be part of that. We want some of that. But it's not just Bosnia, it's the whole region. I'm actually disappointed at how slowly it has moved in 30 years. I think there could have been a lot more there. But I think that by embracing a bigger vision, you can move beyond the importance of those borders and certainly the threat that comes from any prospect of border changes.
And my final question, taking into account that the upcoming elections in the United States are this year, if there is a change of government, say from the Democrats to the Republicans, how will that impact the stance the United States has towards the Balkans and Bosnia specifically?
I think part of the privilege that I get to do is I'm not the U.S. government. We are supported by the American people, funded through Congress as an independent institution focused on democracy. And so part of my message here is that the American people's support for the people of Bosnia-Herzegovina is long-term, consistent, and enduring. We ain't going anywhere. We're going to be by your side. We're not going to tell you what to do. We want to be by your side in supporting this. And part of what I do at the endowment is represent the American people through taxpayers providing support to Bosnian media, civil society, to IRI, NDI, to our core partners. We have 31 partners, 7 cities across Bosnia. For you to determine that, and I'm here to say that regardless of our elections, our support is consistent, long-term, and committed to your helping to figure out this pathway. Will there be changes in policy here and there? There will be. Will it seem pretty dramatic? At times it can. But I think there is a continuity of certain core principles of support for engagement and support in this region. And a lot of the American people, you know, many American people are not aware of the world, but the institutions that have been set up to support American people's support for the region, it's enduring, it's consistent, and will certainly outlast our political changes, and it has.
I think that young people should get involved into politics. And I plead with all the young people to please just try it, because, you know, in Bosnia we always liked sitting on the fringes and commenting on stuff. Everyone knows how it shouldn't be, you know, but when it comes to actually what we should do and who is going to do it, you know, everyone's like, not me, I don't know. Just know, go into it and like do politics, because it's of crucial importance that young voices be essential in our politics. And there is always a million reasons why not to do something. Now everyone will find a reason, oh, I'm this, that, whatnot. Go into politics just for 7 days, try it. If nothing else, many things will become much more clear to everyone, to you, and also like, in general, just go into politics, please, try it.
I can't be our political system, our tensions, but I can't be our civil culture, actually lack of civil culture. For me, that's our biggest problem here. And for the first time in my life, I have a tendency to leave this country, to do a PhD somewhere else and to stay somewhere else, because I used to feel sorry for others because they are not similar as I am. Because they are not similar to me, but now I feel sorry for myself because I'm not similar to them. These people here have a lot of issues accepting others as they are and integrating others while we should integrate in others' circles.
I think that one of the most important problems that we have here is that our politicians are not focused on resolving our problems. They are more focused on other teams. They make some narrative and media follows that narrative. So I don't see that they are talking about some things that are important for young people and other people in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I think that that is the most important reason why young people go from Bosnia and Herzegovina to other countries. I also think that people I personally and many other people don't feel safe in our country. I don't think that there isn't violence in other countries, but I think that violence in other countries who are, who are more focused on their people's problem, punish that violence. I don't see that here, sanction that violence. Other problems are, I think that we don't have really trust in our healthcare, in our education system. I study law and I'm not really sure if I'm going to have opportunity to show my qualities and that someone will choose me to even try to show someone how good I can be in some professions. So I think in other countries, especially in the United States and in Europe, young people have more opportunities, at least to show others what they can give and what they know. And I think that is what misses here.
I would say the two biggest problems we have are, well, the insecurity in the job market. I can finish my college and go to the job market and not find a job for years. Luckily, my specialty is highly wanted, but many other colleges suffer from this. Especially colleges that specialize in the arts and not just them, but philosophy, psychology, and many others. Besides that, I would say the other biggest problem would be the political instability and the imminent threat of Well, while I do not believe it's a threat of war, it's not okay to have a president threaten war every other day. I mean, that it builds up in the subconscious. I believe that those are the two main reasons why people leave.
We all recognize that the situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina, while not perfect, obviously, is far away from the worst it could be. I personally believe that young people leaving Bosnia and Herzegovina is a trend. So I believe it's a cool thing to do. We all dream about living in the West, and Germany is obviously very eager to accept all the young experts coming from Bosnia looking for a better life there. But I think that, as some of the colleagues before said, there's abundance of opportunity here for those who want to try and who know where to look, and even those who are just willing to look. So I believe that narrative is the main problem, and even though it seemed funny what the younger colleague recently mentioned about Eurovision and our participation, what we need really is something to make us proud of living in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I love this country to bits, but it's a hard country to love. It's very hard to love. And it's, when you're looking at Eurovision, there's all of these countries from the smallest to the biggest in Europe. They come together at one place. They're all equal. So, for those 3 minutes, the whole Europe is looking at something that has come from your country, and you feel proud. But we don't really have anything that we can feel proud of. So, we go somewhere where we can be actually a part of the party. So imagine like a big square and everyone is out and we are just sitting in our room locked. That's how it feels to be a young person sometimes in Bosnia. So if you have some influence, please tell the media to stop spreading this, fatalistic, negative story of Bosnia and Herzegovina, how it's impossible to succeed. There are so many successful young people who have achieved so much more here than they ever could have, because there's also less of competition. So just the media, be more positive, do it with a smile, as someone said from the first group, and yeah.
Šta sam ja na ovoj zemlji ako ne ostavim trag u mjestu gdje sam rođena? Da li ja išta vrijedim u Njemačkoj, Austriji, Americi ili bilo kojoj državi ako ne ostavim trag upravo gdje je moj dom? Ja sam zaista preponosna što sam Bosanka, što nosim bosansko porijeklo i oduvijek volim da čujem kad mi neko kaže da sam prava mala Bosančica. I to je zaista ono što je moj najveći ponos.
To be clear, I don't want to go anywhere. But what would make me happier here is a decent life, which is basically economical stability. And what I mean by that, like if I studied for 6 years, I just want to have like a decent wage, to be able to afford, let's say, a vacation at least once a year, to be able to afford myself a new car without being forced to have a 20-year-old loan or 10-year-old loan or anything. And I think most of the problems we are actually discussing would be much, much easier to discuss if only our standard would be a little bit higher. So yeah, I just think that if we had a financial stability here in Bosnia, that we would much less think of other, let's say, a bit less important things.
Another reason I would stay here is I realize when I go outside and I look at the people that walk on the road, I feel at home. I don't feel like I'm in another country. I feel this city. I feel that the people here have a quote-unquote soul, as I would say. That is why I would stay here, and that is why I believe that this country is so beautiful. That's why I always promote it to other people when I talk to people who are from other countries. I always tell them this. It's not important, the political problems are vast and so complicated that someone can't even comprehend them. True, I'm not denying it. However, the key parts, we have them, we contain them, And we have things that a lot of other countries that are portrayed as better than us might not even have. And another thing you asked is, what would be the reason for my leaving of this country? And that is also, can be answered with a pretty simple, if we lose that, if we forget who we are. Another thing that would make me want to leave here is when I go outside and I feel hatred. I don't feel hatred. People say that there's hatred here because of the ethnic groups. That is not true. A lot of my friends are as Bosniaks, as Serbs, and Croats. I don't see a difference. So the day I start seeing a difference, the day I start seeing genuine discrimination, the day where I can't see those people as my friends, that is the day I would think about leaving this country.
In regards to staying or leaving,
should I stay or should I go, in the words of the famous Clash?
It's true. The amount of institutional deadlock is ludicrous, but things have been improving bit by bit. But even if that wasn't the case, I don't think there's a force on this earth that could force me to leave my country, even if we disregard all of the improvements, because I think that I would rather take the freedom that I enjoy here, even if it in some places could be considered freedom in poverty rather than slavery abroad. That's all that I wanted to say, and I wouldn't leave even if there were bombshells falling around the place.
Let me just say, you got this. You got this. I mean, you're awesome. And what I heard is, I was taking notes here. First of all, you got this for a couple reasons. You're unsatisfied, but if I was at Cornell University, Duke University, having conversations like this, you hear this from American students, they're so unsatisfied. And you know what? That's what makes us stronger. The moment you're satisfied, the moment you accept mediocrity, you stop improving, you stop pushing. So you got this. It also helps that you love your country, you love your people.
Ja sam na početku imala ovdje neki plan, napisan, čak sam i zapisivala neka dodatna pitanja za slučaj da zapne. Danas ništa nije zapinjalo, danas je zaista sve išlo kao u nekoj idealnoj epizodi Perspektive. Tako da, eto, toliko od mene za danas. Hvala vam što i sudjelujete i pratite nas na društvenim mrežama i što prepoznate Perspektivu kao jednu od platformi gdje se mlade ljude čuje i gdje imaju apsolutnu slobodu izraziti svoje mišljenje. Vidimo se za tjedan dana. Pozdrav iz Sarajeva. Hvala.
Svaki čovjek jedna knjiga, ja bi bio slikovnica da me nije briga. Život bi trebao biti igra, ali piše romane, zato uživaj dok pišeš i ne gledaj sa strane.
Svaki čovjek je hotel, svaki put kada odeš, tuga natoči koktel na duplo dno. Svaki čovjek je bordel, mutne vrate te vode, amor me strijelo probode, idemo ponovo.